So we're on page 45. This is chapter 1, lesson 5. And the good news is about this is there's only 2 major concepts that are relatively easy. And what I mean by relatively easy is this is so much easier than a couple of sections ago. So we're on page 45. There's not a whole lot of copying down that we have to do for this one either. Okay. Graph proportional relationships. Maps have grids to locate cities. The coordinate plane is a type of grid that is formed when 2 linear lines intersect at their 0 points. The number of lines separate the coordinate plane into 4 regions called quadrants. So like if you think of a 4-wheeler, that's also called a quad because there's 4, or quadruple, or any of other prefixes like that. An ordered pair is a pair of numbers such as 1, 2, used to locate graph points on a coordinate plane. So this is just like we did on Friday. And the way that it is the x value and then the y value. The x coordinate corresponds to the number on the x-axis. The y coordinate corresponds to the number on the y-axis. So this is just like Friday. We have this right here. We're graphing the point 1, 2. We have the y-axis right here from Friday, and we have the x-axis right there from Friday. So what the 1 is this is the x coordinate. Then the 2 is the y coordinate. And these are both called an ordered pair. So now it's asking us, graph the points 2, 3, and -3, -2. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go 2, 3. So the first one's x, 1, 2, then y, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to graph 2, 3. And then it asks me to graph -3, -2. So I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Because it's 3 on the x-axis, -3 on the x-axis, and -2 on the y-axis. So then I'm going to get my straight edge, and I'm going to graph a point, or graph a line that goes through those points. Right there. Put arrows on the end. Describe the graph. Now the graph, keep in mind that a graph, whenever they ask you to graph something, the graph is what you're actually writing on there. The coordinate plane is the background. So describe the graph. Graph is a straight line. The graph is a straight line. So just as a reminder, you are expected to be writing what I write in your textbook. Identify proportional relationships. Another way to determine whether 2 quantities are proportional is to graph the quantities on a coordinate plane. If the graph of the 2 quantities is straight through the origin, here's the big point here, through the origin, then the 2 quantities are proportional. The slowest mammal on Earth is a tree sloth. It moves at a speed of 6 feet per minute. Determine whether the number of feet the sloth moves is proportional to the number of minutes it moves by graphing on the coordinate plane. Explain your reasoning. Make the table, find the number of feet walked for 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 minutes. So they've done it for us, so I'm just going to go over what they've done. So we have, in 0 minutes, the sloth has moved 0 feet. Then in 1 minute, it moved 6 feet. And even though 6 isn't labeled, it's halfway between 4 and 8, the same way that your Snoopy homework on Friday was. Okay. Then we have, after 2 minutes, it's moved 12 feet. Then after 3 minutes, it's moved 18. Then after 4 minutes, it's gone 24. So here's what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go up to 24. So graph the ordered pairs, time and distance on the coordinate plane, and then connect the ordered pairs. So I'm going to connect ordered pairs. And it goes that way. The line passes through the origin and is a straight line. So the number of feet traveled is proportional to the number of minutes. So there's two big things right here. One, it passes through the origin, and two is a straight line. If those two descriptions are not met, it is not going to be proportional. James earns $5 an hour babysitting. Now, last period, so like that's way cheap, but that's what it was probably when the people were trying to think, hey, what do kids charge for babysitting? Determine whether the amount of money James earns babysitting is proportional to the number of hours he babysits by graphing on the coordinate plane. Explain your reasoning in the work zone. So if he's not working, if there's 0 time, he's not earning any money. So that's going to be the origin 0, 0. Then after 1 hour, he will have earned $5. Then after 2 hours, he will have earned 10 bucks. Then after 3 hours, he would have earned $15. So then I'm going to get my straight edge out and I'm going to draw a line. And it's not going to line up perfectly because keep in mind that I'm doing this on a tablet. So it meets both qualifications, it goes through the origin, and it is a straight line. So the graph is proportional because goes through origin. Now I'm skipping lines here just because I want you guys to be able to read it. Because goes through origin and is a straight line. You don't have to skip lines. You can do it as much as you want, but I'm just trying to give enough space so you can read my not so good handwriting. And make sure it's legible because I'm going to be saving this for the notes hard copy. I guess I could save the graph because graph, yes, I get, yeah. This goes through, I got. Does anybody need that still up, still copying down? Okay. The cost of renting video games, this is another one that just dates this book. The cost of renting video games from Games Inc. is shown in the table. Determine whether the cost is proportional to the number of games rented by graphing on the coordinate plane. Explain your reasoning. So we have the number of games and how much it costs to rent those for one night. Write the quantities as ordered pairs, number of games to cost. So the numbered pairs are 1, 3, 2, 5, 3 is 7, oops, 3, 7, and for 4 games it costs $9. Then I'm going to connect them. I'm just going over the blue line that they have available. And once again, this won't be perfect. That was really bad, actually. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Better? It's not bad. The line does not pass through the origin. So there are two things that has to happen. One, a straight line. Is it a straight line? Yes, it is. But it does not pass through the origin, so it is not proportional. And the way that you can check that is if we were to take any of the ordered pairs, for example, 1, 3 and 2, 5. If I did what we did on, what was it, Tuesday? If I did 1 divided by 3, 1 divided by 3 is not equal to 2, 5. Because remember, that relationship, those proportions have to be the same. It has to be the same ratio from last week.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
My screen went back to where it says Mr. Smith is sharing his screen, so, and I can't see what you're doing.
Can you open up the Zoom? Like there's view options that you can do. Can you see the bottom like part where you can say to do like a reaction or leave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Check out your view options. See if that might change.
What is my?
So the table shows the number of calories an athlete burned per minute of exercise. Determine whether the number of calories burned is proportional to the number of minutes by graphing on the coordinate plane and explain your reasoning in the work zone. So we have, with no time, we're not burning any calories. So we have at the origin 0, 0. Then we have 1, 4, 1, 4. Now this goes up by 2. That's one of the other things. You got to be cognizant of what values each tick mark does. Oh, there's 5 chat messages. Let's see here. Oh, am I breathing into my mic a lot, guys? Yeah, let me know when that happens. All right, if I put it down, can you still hear me okay? It'll just be a little bit quieter. Okay, yeah, because I had the mic in a different spot. I'm not trying to beatbox in your guys' ears. All right, so now we have after 2 minutes, the number of calories burned is 8. Then after 3 minutes, the number of calories is 13. So if I were to draw a straight line through those, notice how this is not going to be pretty, but I'll explain in a second. If you were to draw a line on your textbook, you would see that last dot, try it again. That last dot, because it doesn't quite line up. So if I were to do this and be 1/4 because of 1 and 4, if I were to find that ratio and 3/13, 1/4 and 3/13 are not equal because the 3/13 that I'm doing, which is right here, notice how it misses that straight line. And in your textbook, it's going to be a lot easier than it is for me to do this with a rubber ruler and on a tablet. So we're going to say not proportional. Because does not, or so graph, the graph does not, the graph is not a straight line. And one other way that you could have done this is, if I were to graph this, it goes up that way in a straight line, but then it curves toward the top. So this curve right here is something that I had trouble to demonstrate as far as using this device goes. So it's not a straight line. 1/4, or the ratio 1/4 does not equal 3/13. So those are both reasons that it doesn't work. It does go through the origin, but the ratio is the big thing. Not proportional because the graph is not a straight line because it curves toward the top. It goes up because you need it to be a straight line for it to be proportional. Looks like you're all done writing. Moving on. And they use this image for like chapter 5, I remember. Which batting cage represents a proportional relationship between the number of pitches thrown and the cost? The graph for softball plus is a straight line, but it does not pass through the origin. So here's softball plus. So the relationship is not proportional. However, the graph of Fun Center is a straight line through the origin. So the relationship between the number of pitches thrown and the cost is proportional. So this one here, what that would be, if that was a word problem, it would be representing that it costs $3 to walk in the door, and then it costs more money for each pitch that you do, or each number of pitches that you have if you were to purchase it once. So the big thing is here, it starts at 3. It does not start at the origin for softball plus, so it's not proportionate. I would like you all to do numbers 1 and 2 right now, and I'll zoom out a bit so everybody can see it if you don't have your book in front of you. So I want you all to do numbers 1 and 2, and as far as this recording goes, I'm going to pause it, so as soon as we come back, that's when we're going to get started with it. Determine whether the cost is proportional to the number of tickets by graphing on the coordinate plane. Explain the reasoning. Then for number 2, the number of books 2 stores sell after 1, 2, and 3 days is shown. Which book sale represents the proportional relationship between the time and books? Explain. So maybe about 20 more seconds, then we'll go. So I have $12 for 1 ticket. So that means I'm going to put a dot right here. I have $24 for 2 tickets. So I'm going to go to the 2 on the tickets, and 24, put a dot there, and $36 for 3 tickets. $36 for 3 tickets. Then I'm going to graph the line. And I'm going to verify that for 1 ticket costing $12, is that equal to 2 for $24, for example? Is that equal to 3 for $36? And yes, it is, because those all will simplify to being 1/12. The cost is proportional. Cost is proportional because, and here's another way you could do it, because each ticket is $12. That's one way you could put it, because the ratio is the same. I could also write because the ratio from tickets to price is proportionate, or it stays the same way. It's not a situation where you have a fee. It's just $12 for a ticket. No matter how many tickets you get, it's going to be $12. The number of books 2 stores sell, I already read that, so I'm not going to reread it. So we can right away see that this is not a straight line. Discount books, it's not a straight line, because if you bought 1 book that's going to be, sorry, if you bought one book that costs $1. However, if you bought two, it costs $4. So the books have different prices. So not proportionate. So it's not proportionate. And wait, let me see here. For discount books, so it's not proportionate for discount books because it's not a straight line. It's not proportionate because it's not a straight line. Book Palace is proportionate. Because it goes through the origin, and B, for each book's price, if you wanted to look, or if you wanted to figure that out, we see this point right here that is at 2.6, which is 1/3. You don't have to write this what I'm writing right now, but so we have for each book is $3 at Book Palace. No matter how many books you buy, it's going to be $3 as far as the data that we have goes. So graphing relationships, how does graphing relationships help you determine whether the relationship is proportional or not? And so this is the when the line is straight, the graph, I can say graph. When the graph is straight, and goes through the origin. So when it's straight and it goes through the origin, that's when we know if something is proportional or not. So those two factors are the main concepts of knowing whether it's proportionate or not. If it doesn't go through the origin, or if it bends a little bit, it is not proportionate.